Senator Blumenthal.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to give you the opportunity that I often found absolutely precious when I was arguing before panel judges and couldn't get my answer out. I'm going to give you some of my time to just say what you were going to say to Senator Hawley.
Thank you, Senator.
I can't interrupt you.
Okay, thank you, Senator.
I'll take some of your time.
I started to say this.
By the way, we're good friends, so it's not personal.
Well, maybe I'll just finish what I started saying at the end, which is in a number of the questions today, there has been this embedded premise that there's something democratically troubling about judges issuing these nationwide injunctions, constraining the democratically elected president. And I guess I would just say in response that, we have a constitutional democracy, so the people are sovereign, and that's, the sovereignty flows from the people, and we do choose our elected representatives, but obviously we choose our representatives in Congress. Congress passes statutes, the president signs them, and many of the rulings we are talking about were predicated on executive branch violations of statutes that Congress passed. So the rulings in many ways are about protecting and reinforcing democracy. And then finally, I'll say that, courts are part of our democracy, right? They have served this rights protecting and democracy facilitating function from basically the beginning, whatever the original design of the Constitution was. And it is not undemocratic or anomalous for courts to sometimes strike down acts of the president or of Congress when they conflict with the fundamental law, which is the Constitution, which in our system, courts have long had the primary role in enforcing.
And in fact, just as a footnote to this conversation, Congress has an obligation to follow the Constitution too, correct?
Absolutely. The president does, Congress does, every official, state and federal takes an oath to uphold the Constitution, but where that oath does not appear to be fully honored by one or more other actors in government. Sometimes courts do need to step into the breach. I think that is what we have been seeing.
And I can't remember exactly what that chart said, but so far in the lawsuits that have been brought, the administration or the president has lost, I would say, a vast majority of times. Is that correct?
The vast majority, yes, Senator.
And I want to ask a somewhat open-ended question because I have to confess, as Attorney General of the state of Connecticut, I probably succeeded, I can't name in which cases, obtaining a nationwide injunction. Then Attorney General Schmidt sought more than...
You started it. Is that your admission?
sought more than a dozen nationwide injunctions against the Biden administration. Then Attorney General Moody also sought numerous nationwide injunctions. This is a tactic, and it's a well-founded one, that attorneys general, litigants, and others have used again and again and again. And it shouldn't be a partisan issue. Nationwide injunctions shouldn't be a partisan issue. And when I say they did it, I'm not being accusatory. I confess I did it. And I don't know about then Attorney General Whitehouse. He can speak for himself, but it should not be a partisan issue, should it?
I agree that it shouldn't be, but of course, yes, it has been. I mean, I think that despite the somewhat heated exchange I was just having with Senator Hawley, I do think that we don't want judges to be sort of driving the train of policymaking, and there are absolutely, there may be points and there may be contexts in which it does feel as though some fundamental change to the way judges consider nationwide injunctions, how much there's some critique that the merits have become the entire analysis and that there should be some prescriptions that are different about the kinds of harms that should be, the way harm should be evaluated or assessed. So I do think there are, again, back to the sort of prudential point, there are absolutely reforms that I think that there could be some...
Just to take, and I apologize for interrupting, but I am running out of time.
Yeah, sorry.
To take Senator Hawley's point about looking for a principle, a jurisprudential lodestar here, maybe we do need some refinement on a bipartisan basis to provide some guidelines to district court judges, some of whom come to work on their first day and are presented with litigation that determines whether or not kids get health care or whatever in parts of the country they've never visited, in towns they don't even know how to pronounce.
Right. So, and whether that comes from a rule change, Supreme Court guidance, something legislative, I am not sure, but I think there could well be bipartisan consensus around clearer standards that guide judges asked to consider requests for nationwide injunctions.
And that would probably increase the credibility of what courts do if they could point to standards that were not just personal preferences or whims or, perhaps subconscious political leanings.
I agree with that, Senator.
Thank you. Thanks, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Blackburn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Professor, I do want to come to you, and I want to return to